Welcome to Biology Made Easy. In today's lesson, we are going to discuss techniques to draw Collenchyma and Sclerenchyma cells from plant sections under high-power optical compound microscope. This is a follow-up on techniques to draw plant tissues 1. Please check my previous lesson on plant tissues 1 because it shows the basis of the techniques. Thank you. Collenchyma cells are living cells, slightly elongated, and have their cell walls irregularly thickened with cellulose. The radial walls are thickened while the other side of the walls are not. As we have here, we have thickening here. This is an LS, not thickened, not thickened. The TS also is the TS. These parts of the cells are thickened. Here is not thickened, not thickened, thickened, not thickened. That is Collenchyma cell. So let's see how to make the LS like this one. Well, I want to label 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, in drawing plant cells, we always have to put in the outer walls first. So in this case, we have to gauge, we have to determine where the outer wall between this and this is. So we will just decide this, the outer wall of, so we gauge where the outer walls are. So we put in this one. The outer wall there. There's also another wall here. Putting in the outer walls. So we put the outer wall here with the wall here. Thick inner wall here. Very thick, very thick, very thick walls there. Then we have a thick wall here. Then we have a thin wall here. The thin wall. Very thin wall here. Thin. Very thick wall. Very thick here. Then we have thick wall. Very thick. Then seem to be thin here. One thin. Thin wall, thin wall, thin wall. So that is it. One is here. Just want to shade it. We don't shade in biology, but just because it's a demonstration, we want to shade. These are Collenchyma cells. We can see that some of the walls are thick, very thick, thick, thin, thick, thin, thin. That is Collenchyma. And what we have made is LS of Collenchyma cells under optical microscope. We want to do the TS of Collenchyma tissues under optical microscope high power. This is Collenchyma tissue here. The walls here are thickened, not thickened. So this is what we are going to do. Always draw the outer walls first. So we have to decide where we can put in the outer wall, we have to decide. And so we will try and make this area. So we have A here, B here, C, D, E. Let's try and draw the cells in this area. And so A, we put in the outer wall here. And so we have something like this for A. And then B, we have B here. B outer wall first. So B's outer wall is about this. Then we have C here. We have C also here. Then we have D here. We have our D here. Then we have E here. Well, after E, we have cell here, trying to put in some of the outer walls. Now, this is our A here, and this is our B. This wall here is thick. Here is thick. So we are going to put in our wall in such a way that this area will be thick and the rest of the place thin. Between E and A is thin, so the walls should be quite close. A and B, they are thickened, it's thick between the two of them. So we have thick, the rest of them is thin. And there's a cell close here, and there's a thick wall, a thick cell here. This is our C. The wall between the two are not too thick. There's a region here. So these two, the walls between them are not thin here, thin here, thin here, here. Then we have D here, is thin, thin. Meanwhile, there are other cells here. This is the E, is thin, but E and A is thin between them. So that is how you gauge to draw Collenchyma cells. And we don't have to shade anything. See that this wall is thick here. Here is thick. Here is thin. See, all here is thick. Here is thick. There's a thick wall here. So this is our Collenchyma. So that is TS of Collenchyma cells under high power optical microscope. Now we want to look at Sclerenchyma fibers. Here we have TS of Sclerenchyma here. But let's look at what a fiber looks like. Now let's look at Sclerenchyma fibers. Here is a fiber. They are elongated cells, tapering. Now let's look at Sclerenchyma fibers. The cells are elongated, polygonal in shape, tapering ends, and then they are dead, so they have lumen and have pits. Now this is the TS. Because they are polygonal, that is the shape. That is the shape. And they have this secondary wall of lignin. Now, these are them with the pit shown. So this is the pit between them and the lumen. Now, let's demonstrate how to do the LS and the TS with the pits. Demonstration first. Here is the LS, and we know that we always put in the outer walls first. So here is one, and we are going to put in another fiber, but this time we are giving room to show where the pit is. So where the pit is, you leave a gap. You leave a gap. You leave a gap in the wall. So we have another cell here, and we have a cell, a fiber here, and let's say we have these, only these. Now we are going to put in the lumen, but remember there's a pit here. So here is the pit. Here is the lumen for this one, and the pit so we have the lumen and a lumen. So we have the cell wall. Let's say that we want to put in another with a pit. So we have a wall here, we have a fiber here, and we are going to put in a fiber here with a pit. So we leave a gap where the pit will be. So we've left this gap here because there's going to be a pit here. So in drawing, we can put in our another fiber, and another fiber is here. And then we are putting in the lumen. So to make it very clear, I want to use this color to show the lumen and the pit. So we have our lumen here, we have our lumen here, and there's a pit. So here's the pit, here's the lumen, and the pit with the other lumen. So we have our cells with the lumen. So we have the lignified wall, we have the lumen, and we have the pit. Now we also want to demonstrate how to do the TS with the pit. So we always the outer walls first. Let's say there's a pit here, so we leave a gap where the pit will be. We leave a gap. There's another cell here, polygonal cells. We can also have another cell here, polygonal cells. And here, we can have another small cell here. Other cells are here. Other cells. Where the pit is, we left a space. So we put in the lumen. Here's a lumen, but there's a pit there. So that is it. This is also a lumen, and this lumen is continuous with this pit. So that's all. You put in the outer walls, leave the gap where the pit will be. So we have our walls. We don't want to shade this seen clearly. We see our walls, and here is the pit. So here is the lumen. So we have the lignified wall, we have the lumen, and we have the pit. Good. Now we are going to draw sclerenchyma fibers that are found in plant section under high power optical microscope. And here is a cell, here is the sclerenchyma, look at this cell, which I say A. This one is B. There's a pit here. So we chose that. So we say this is A, B. Okay, let's go here C. Let's go here D. Let's go here E. So we are going to draw these few cells in. The outlines of the cells or fibers first. We are aiming at this lumen. So, and the cell is polygonal. So we have a cell. There's a pit here. So we leave the gap for the pit. And there's this cell too. That's a cell around it. It's polygonal. Cells are polygonal. So we put in a cell here. Mindful of the pit. So we put in the lumen of A like this with a pit. And then the cell, this cell also, the lumen here, and there are other cells or fibers around. This one, the lumen here. This one is E here with the lumen. Cell walls always first. Polygonal cells. This one has its lumen. Others around their lumen. So we have AE. We have a cell here or a fiber, big ones with their lumen. This is C here. So we're interested in this lumen and this lumen with the pit. So here we are with our sclerenchyma with the lumen. So here we are with a thick wall thickening, lumen, pit, lumen of this sclerenchyma tissue. So TS sclerenchyma fibers and a high power optical microscope. This brings us to the end of today's lesson. Thank you very much and goodbye.